It's time for another WrestlePlanet news update as we look at 3 scrapped debuts for Impact Bound for Glory. The working relationship between AEW and Impact Wrestling appears to be over, and legendary announcer Jim Ross has been sadly diagnosed with cancer. All that and more coming up in today's video, but first... Last night, New Japan Pro-Wrestling began their Road to Power Struggle tour from Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, Japan. The show saw the return of a popular title belt as G1 Climax 31 winner Kazuchika Okada brought back the now retired IWGP Heavyweight Championship. In March of this year, the heavyweight title was merged with the Intercontinental title to create one single belt, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. This would see the introduction of a new belt design, one which fans felt was inferior to the now classic IWGP belt. Following Okada's G1 victory over Kota Ibushi this past week, he would request that instead of a briefcase and contract, he wanted the 4th IWGP heavyweight belt instead. During a press conference after the show, Okada would say, "There's usually a briefcase with a contract inside, but after the way things ended yesterday, I want to face Ibushi again. And since Ibushi retired that title, I want it as proof of my promise to him, to have a title belt instead of a contract." It appears his request has been granted as he carried the old belt to the ring in Tokyo. I would show you pictures of him carrying it, but we'd definitely get a copyright strike. Okada will now defend the Wrestle Kingdom title opportunity that he earned with his G1 victory against Bullet Club's Tama Tonga at Power Struggle on November 6th, which we can now assume will see the belt on the line instead of the typical briefcase that the G1 winner defends on the way to the Wrestle Kingdom main event. Now let's go to an update on the ticket sales for the competing episodes of AEW Dynamite and WWE Raw, who will both be holding shows in the same venue in a matter of days at the new UBS Arena in Long Island, New York. In a tweet from WrestleTix, who closely track the ticket sales of wrestling events, revealed that AEW are still outdrawing WWE in the Long Island market, this despite WWE slashing some of the ticket prices in half after falling behind their competition. According to WWE.com, SmackDown Superstar and WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns has been added to the lineup, this likely to boost sales, but despite this, AEW have still sold more than double of that of WWE. Twitter user SODUTW retweeted the latest from WrestleTix and made reference to Roman Reigns and AEW's Long Island native MJF, who has been the poster boy for the Dynamite event, and he would say, adding Roman didn't sell tickets. MJF's Barstool interview may have. MJF then saw this tweet and responded, "May have, I'm the effing king of Long Island, bud." It's certainly interesting to see AEW outsell WWE in a market that is traditionally their home base, with even Roman Reigns unable to help them catch up with Dynamite. MJF is the only person on the poster for AEW's Long Island show, as it continues to become clear that he is indeed better than me, you, and Roman Reigns, and you know it. Next up, let's go to an update regarding the All Elite Wrestling future of Tony Nese, who was shown in the front row of AEW Dynamite this past Saturday. Last night, AEW would hold the latest set of tapings of AEW Dark from Universal Studios in Florida, and Nese would make his in-ring debut for the promotion, competing against the popular Fuego del Sol. On Dynamite, he was billed as one of the hottest free agents in wrestling, and it seems the premier athlete has now been snapped up by the promotion, which many expected to happen after Saturday. Whilst there is no official word on his AEW status as of this recording, we know he has at least a short-term deal, if not a long-term one, with AEW unlikely putting him front and center of their flagship show if they didn't have plans for him going forward. Nese has been a free agent since his release from WWE in June and has been available to sign for another promotion since September when his non-compete clause expired. Elsewhere at the AEW Dark tapings, Cody Rhodes debuted a brand new gimmick, that of a masked luchador. Tagging with Fuego del Sol, collectively known as Fast 2 Fuego, they would go on to defeat Kid Bandit and Dean Alexander in their first match as a team. The gimmick was first revealed last week during the build-up to the tapings, with both men appearing together on Sammy Guevara's vlog, as well as appearing on promotional material for the Orlando shows. As of now, Cody is denying any involvement in the tag team in what appears to be a Mr. America Hulk Hogan situation, although the tattoo on his chest and neck are a bit of a giveaway. It's unknown if this will remain a skit for Dark and the vlogs, or if it will indeed bleed onto AEW Dynamite and Rampage, although it could be a seed for the expected Cody Rhodes heel turn later down the line, with Fuego perhaps being on the end of a betrayal angle. In yesterday's video, we discussed Impact's latest pay-per-view, Bound for Glory, a show which saw a number of planned surprises scrapped due to various reasons. We now have an update from Fightful, who have details on who Impact had planned to debut on the show, with 3 recently released WWE Superstars in line before plans had to change. The first and seemingly closest to debut was the former NXT North American champion Bronson Reed, with Impact sources stating that the now Jonah Rock was officially booked for the show before being unbooked, with no specific reason given for the change in plans. Also contacted to appear was Bray Wyatt, although his non-compete clause prevented this from happening. Fightful were told that a deal with Wyatt was never even close to happening. This is expected, with his non-compete clause not expiring until Friday, although some talent have managed to shorten their clause in the past. And the final name, and the most heavily rumoured for the show, was Adam Scherr, who is the former Braun Strowman. It has been reported that Strowman met with Impact EVP Scott D'Amore earlier last week and was spotted flying to Las Vegas from Chicago, which is where Bound for Glory was held. In Fightful's report, they did confirm negotiations between Scherr and Impact, but have been told that a deal has not yet been made. Whether any of these deals can be pushed through in the future is yet to be seen, although we now know the 3 men are at least on their shortlists of potential signings going forward. And quickly, just before we continue, make sure you drop a like on the video as it helps me out a lot, and make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any upcoming wrestling content as we head, hopefully, towards 100,000 subscribers. But now, let's press play on the video. Next up, we have an update on the working relationship between All Elite Wrestling and Impact Wrestling, which is now said to be over. A quick disclaimer before we get into this one, as the story comes from Ringside News, a source that I don't typically use. However, the story has been retweeted by Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp, which appears to be a stamp of approval, noting that the Good Brothers have been absent from the past 3 episodes of Dynamite. So with that said, let's get on with what the report has to say. The relationship between the 2 companies is said to have ended at this Saturday's Impact Bound for Glory pay-per-view, although no specific details were given on the status of Christian Cage and Christopher Daniels, who are AEW wrestlers that regularly appear in Impact, or the status of the Good Brothers, who are Impact wrestlers that appear in AEW as part of the Elite. It's worth noting that the Bound for Glory event did end with Christian Cage losing his Impact World title belt to Josh Alexander. That was before Moose cashed in his title opportunity, meaning that this could be the end of Christian in Impact. There was an Impact TV taping last night in Las Vegas, with another being held tonight, and it appears that Christian was not at the show, although I'm not 100% on this, as full spoilers have yet to be posted. As always, I'll keep my ear to the ground and provide any updates as they come in, but for now, it's safe to assume that AEW and Impact will not be working together going forward, in somewhat of a flat end to their relationship. And finally, we have some news regarding the health of legendary wrestling announcer Jim Ross, who has received a worrying diagnosis. On Thursday, JR would reveal that he was on his way to a CAT scan for a potential skin cancer issue, alongside a picture of his ankle. Ross would later provide an update on his way to AEW Dynamite this Saturday, revealing that the issue was indeed skin cancer and is now waiting for treatment. Ross has been dealing with the issue for over a year and is now waiting for a radiologist to study the problem to determine the best treatment, and he revealed that this treatment will likely be done via radiology. Over the years, JR has had a number of health issues, having suffered from multiple bouts of Bell's palsy, as well as having a colon removed in 2005 due to a cancer scare. The former WWE announcer has been signed with All Elite Wrestling since 2019 at the start of the promotion, and has served as the promotion's lead commentator ever since. Jim Ross is no doubt one of, if not the best best announcers wrestling has ever seen and is the voice of many of our childhoods, and let's hope that his treatment is a complete success, and we wish him all the best. And before you go, make sure you check out my video where I rank every single AEW champion from worst to best, including the TNT, Women's, Tag Team and World Championship.